In the last video, we discussed how to find information for European deals, and in this video, we'll go on to look at how we would find out information for US deals. So I actually like looking at US deals a lot more from the perspective of finding data, because all the information gets reported to one governing body, the SEC. So companies that trade publicly on exchanges are required to notify this regulatory board, the Securities and Exchange Commission. And what's really nice is now the data is structured and they follow processes and procedures, and so all the data is organized for us. What I want to do here is get you familiar with the filing types and what each filing type means. So the first thing we would look at are the proxy statements, so the first data source. And here the code is PRM14A or DFM14A. And that depends on whether the proxy statement is a preliminary proxy statement or a definitive proxy statement. What happens here is the board of directors of both companies will notify their shareholders that they're organizing this M&A or this merger or whatever. And if they've come to an agreement, they'll release this definitive proxy statement. But if they haven't yet come to a concrete agreement, they might issue these preliminary statements. And these statements contain all the information about the deal. They include the schedule and timing of the shareholder vote and what exactly they're voting on. Usually that's to approve the merger. And then it will also contain the consideration, so the type of payment and how much the payment is. And it will also include all the arguments for the merger, why this merger would be a good idea or not. If the deal involves tender offers, so we've discussed tender offers before, there will be a filing called Schedule TO, or a Scheduled Tender Offer, filed by the acquirer when it launches the tender offer. And that will contain the details of the schedule and the details of their offer and the terms that come with the offer. And then the target company should file a Schedule 14D9 form, and that is the board making a recommendation to its shareholders of whether or not it should tender their shares to the acquirer or not. And then whenever a merger or acquisition involves registration of new securities, so for example, in a stock deal, usually the acquirer will issue new stock to take over the company, and potentially in a cash deal, they might finance it with debt and issue some more bonds or something like that, or convertible notes sometimes. In these cases, the companies will issue what are called S4 forms or 424B forms, and these are like prospectuses of new securities. The S4 tells you whenever there's a new issue of securities with regard an M&A deal. And then for financial information, again, we just look at the annual report, which is called the 10K, or the quarterly report, which is called the 10Q. And then often there'll also be these other periodical reports called 8Ks, and these will be published and report all the significant or material purchases or sales made by the company, and so M&A would come under those 8K reports as well. To make this more concrete, I thought we'd talk about Disney's filings to the SEC with regard their takeover of 21st Century Fox, or their merger with 21st Century Fox. So the first thing to do is go to the SEC website. So I'll just type in sec.gov, and it's the first hit on Google, and we can go there. So this is the US Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC website, and they have something down here called the EDGAR, which is a large database of companies' filings. So all the companies are filed with the SEC, and the SEC makes them publicly available. So we can just type in here Disney, and then it corrects to Walt Disney Co. That's the one we want. We now get a big list, a big table with all Disney's regulatory filings. So for example here's a 10Q, an 8K, a 425, here's a DEF M14. And you can see here a little description of what that is. It's the definitive proxy statement relating to a merger or acquisition. So this is the one for the 21st Century Fox takeover. And then all the files associated with that regulatory filing are then loaded up, and it usually contains the main file, a little text file, and some kind of images that were used in the file. So we just click on this, and it's an HTML file, similar to HTML. Here we've got the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. It's a Schedule 14A filing. And this is the Walt Disney Company. And if you go down, here we can see that they've got a letter to shareholders with regard the Walt Disney and 21st Century Fox merger. So this is explaining that there's going to be a merger and the shareholders need to vote on this matter. And here it says your vote is very important. So if we scroll down, we can also get some more information about the deal. Finally get to the table of contents. And so the first thing I want to show you is the summary. The summary is kind of the bit that I usually read first, and it tells you all the details and information about the deal. Here is the information on the transactions involved. If you read this, what you will essentially find is that for every Fox share that you own, Disney will offer you 0.692 shares as well as $29 in cash. But there's some other terms that go along with that. And if we keep scrolling down, we'll also see the legal structures of both the companies and the new companies. And then you can see it goes into even more depth. So there's reams and reams of good information here. So that's the proxy statements for the Disney merger. If we go back to the Edgar database, then there should also be some S4s published somewhere. And if I type in here S4, then we can see that. Yes, here's all the S4 statements. Okay, so here's the S4 registration statement, and it basically says that all the information about the deal and that Disney are going to issue some new shares to buy out 21st Century Fox. And then if we wanted to find, say, the financial statements of Disney, then we can just type in 10K. Here's the last 10K report, and you can see if we scroll down, we get a table of contents, and we can click on the financial statements and supplementary data, and it'll take us down roughly to where the financial statements are. And then here we go. Here is the consolidated statements of income, and here's the balance sheet, and also the statement of cash flows. So I hope that gives you a fair idea of where to start looking for information on US deals. Okay, see you in the next video.